Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. It's me, I'm the founder and CEO of NOBI, and today is another podcast. And today's episode is jam-packed with insight because I'm joined with a couple of crypto leaders from Emurgo. First up, we've got Shunsuke Murasaki, the Chief of Staff. Hey there, Shunsuke.
Hi, thanks for having me, Lawrence.
Yeah, hi Shunsuke. And right alongside him, we've got Sebastian Zilliacus, the one steering the ship, managing director. How is it going, Sebastian? I hope I got your name right.
I know my surname can be a little bit troublesome at times, but yeah, you got it right, and really appreciate you inviting me and us here today.
All right. So here's the deal. I've given you your name and your position, but I believe everyone have their own stories to tell. So I want you to tell us straight away. Since okay, maybe you can start first, and then Sebastian, you can take it away.
Sure. Thanks. So Shunsuke Murasaki is my name. I've been working for Cardano Emurgo for the last, I guess, 6 years. So I just got in Emurgo 2017, and that's my journey started with cryptocurrency and specifically Cardano. And since then, I started as sort of biz dev because that was I was doing previously. So I was doing partnership and so on. And in 2018, I got into Indonesia. We found a partner and start education business in Indonesia. Then later that I moved to Singapore because I've been working very closely with Ken, CEO of Emurgo. So last year I promoted as a chief of staff and keep assisting him, especially communication with someone like Seba, right? Because CEO Ken been working with all the business leaders, fintech, media, academy, and so on. So streamlined communication and sort of identifying synergy between product and services at Emurgo. So I guess that's in a nutshell what I'm doing.
Wow, you've been everywhere, Shunsuke. Nice. All right, Sebastian.
All right, thank you. So I'm from Sweden originally, but have made Singapore my home for the past 16 years. So I've been quite a long time in Singapore, gotten the opportunity to be part of many different kind of industries throughout the 16 years, namely social networking, payment gateways, video distribution, mobile games, fintech and regulatory technology before I joined Emurgo roughly about 1.5 to 2 years ago. And my first sort of interest in blockchain, and the first time I got aware of it is around 6 years ago, somewhere around there, in my time during a fintech company where we wanted to tokenize shares on the US stock exchange. We built an exchange around that time and did this through something called the Global Depository Receipts. But that really started my journey into Web3 and my interest in it. And furthermore, moving into regulatory technology, we provided quite a lot of different kind of services to crypto companies for their regulatory needs. So like KYC, KYB, anti-money laundering checks and so forth. And that further sort of spurred my interest more into blockchain technology as itself. And then I got the opportunity to meet Ken also roughly about 1.5 to 2 years ago, and got the chance to join Emurgo as a managing director, specifically for Emurgo Media and then Cardan Spot, which is the first product of Emurgo Media. So really exciting.
Wow, you've been doing a lot of different things, and I gotta ask you this. So you both work for Emurgo, and Emurgo is based in Singapore, I believe. Which one comes first for you both? Maybe Sebastian can tell us first. Like for you, is it blockchain first or crypto first? Like what's give you the first exposure to the whole world?
Yeah, I think for me, I got really interested in blockchain itself and what blockchain can provide to many companies as well as mass consumers. Mm-hmm. And many use cases is in various industries that can solve problems for companies. So I really saw the sort of mass benefit from blockchain itself. But then I think through the fintech days, as we did the global depository receipts tokenizing shares on Nasdaq, I think that's where my first touch point to Web3 industry were.
Okay. How about you, Shunsuke? What do you think about this? Like, are you exposed to crypto first or blockchain first?
So my first encounter, I would say crypto. In my case, my first encounter was Bitcoin, and why there was one project. It's like a Telegram-looking application. It was before ICO time. It's like a funding through only Bitcoin. Support the project, then that's sort of like ICO type of scheme in Israel. And that project was built in an application like Telegram, and if you see advertisement, you get rewarded by cryptocurrency. So I thought the idea was pretty cool, and just I want to be part of it. And the only way was to purchase Bitcoin and send that Bitcoin to an address, right? So, well, unfortunately, that project didn't go well, but that was the first my encounter, and I was like, wow, like, this address, like, I don't know who that is, but, I can send transactions without going through intermediary, and that person receives, that person can start doing a business with the funding globally. So that was my really cool encounter with cryptocurrency. But my interest gradually, shifted to blockchain technology more. I guess, crypto is only part of it, and it's number of applications that blockchain technology enable people to build. So I think, my entry point was crypto, Bitcoin, but more broadly interested into blockchain technology in general.
Okay, that's really cool, and I think a lot of people come from different directions, right? So for me personally, I'm also coming from Bitcoin, right? The fact that you can transfer value in a decentralized way without nobody play the middleman role, that's amazing, right? So it's uncensorable. You can move values, move coins between wallets, and it all just works, right? So for me, that's the coolest thing about crypto. And later after that, I understand that the technology behind it is blockchain, and then blockchain can have like different applications, right? So, and I think this is a good segue for me to switch gears. And when we say that blockchain and crypto, this is, I personally think that you cannot separate it, right? You cannot separate blockchain and crypto, right? But at the same time, blockchain have so much potential. And you guys at Emurgo, you guys have been like the one of the leaders that been playing this advocacy role and helping projects figuring out how to do it. But maybe we can hear it firsthand, like from your interactions with companies and projects. How can, let's say, everyday folks, our friends, our neighbors, our family, benefit from blockchain without having to go deep into the world of crypto, let's say, for example? Is that possible? Like, what do you see of this?
I think maybe you can start. So from my point of view, when it comes to mass adoption of the technology, there are a lot of things that needs to be, or I'd say, is an industry challenge, and something that we all are working on to a certain extent collaboratively, but to a certain extent individually. So one, of course, is going into education. But the other thing that I think also is very important, and that is the language. So to really do mass adoption, we need to adapt to maybe a language that is more understandable for a broader audience. I think that is really important. Thirdly, I think we just have to also understand, at least from my point of view, that Web3 technology in itself can solve problems in any industry, but it doesn't necessarily have to replace the existing technologies. So where are the use cases where Web3, blockchain and crypto can be used to solve problems? So I think the approach have to go from that way. If you're a project owner or if you're an entrepreneur, you really have to look at different kind of industries and see, okay, what are the challenges that they have, which blockchain and crypto can solve. So I think that's the first entry point. And then through there is really important to work on user interface, user experience, language in order to have mass adoption reach.
So it's not binary, right? So it's not going from, I mean, when you adapt blockchain, it's not like it's a binary option between, it's like non and full blockchain, right? So there has to be like a gradual migration or like a change of process of procedures and business, especially the business process, right? A lot of people emphasize on the technology, but it's all interconnected.
Exactly. And maybe one more point to it is that exactly the way we I would say make this aware to the mass population cannot be purely from a technology sales, from a technology perspective. It's more from what is the problem that we are solving for you, or what are the additional things we can provide to you. And this is something that I've seen in any kind of revolutionary technology growth. Being as old as I am, being part of the Web3 when I wouldn't say when internet started, but when websites started to be more frequent in the world. So late 90s, early 2000, I saw the similar aspect when we tried to, I would say, convince companies that they should have a website. A lot of companies said, why should I use internet? Why do I need to be on internet? And there was also then terminology and language that was used, which didn't help that transition. So we had to switch the way we talk to businesses, the way we talk to consumers. And gradually we can see that more and more companies utilizing internet sites. And I think there will be a similar kind of process within the blockchain and crypto industry.
How about you, Shunsuke? What do you think? Like, do you see blockchain can be used in outside world, I guess, in a non-crypto setting, in a non-Web3 setting?
Yeah, by all means. I think your question was around everyday people, right? Like how those everyday people, not maybe necessarily technology savvy people, can benefit from blockchain technology. I think that we touch on the Bitcoin or the remittance or value transfer, right? I think that Bitcoin itself is, maybe we can say, one of the application of blockchain technology in the sense of value transfer mechanism, right? I'm from Japan, Tokyo. I don't have that so much currency volatility issue, but for someone living in Argentina and those currency volatile country, it really matters, right? Like you get your monthly income, and all of a sudden your monthly income goes down to half of the value, and you want to store the value. So Bitcoin or stable token indeed act as really good saver for them to store the value of what they earned. So I think that everyday people, right? But everyday people's definition really broad, right? Someone who like to do gaming, someone who has problem with securing their property deed. Some countries like Africa, there's always a dispute, right? And if that dispute gets resolved, that property can be used for commercial purpose and then generate money, right? So how that blockchain technology can solve those issues, resolve a dispute, maybe not necessarily highlighting the technology. I think everyday people don't really need to understand what's the technology behind, right? Okay, there's a new system that solve dispute, and probably they're happy with that because they can extract value from the land. And same goes for game. I'm quite bullish on game use case, not necessarily the aspect of decentralization, but the concept of being able to own your asset, which tend to be owned by centralized party. So if that game fails, then your game asset will go away somewhere, right?
Yes.
But the idea of being able to own your asset, regardless of centralized entity, maintain it, it's something that, you know, blockchain technology can enable. However, I think gamer doesn't really need to understand what's the technology behind it. It's really cool that I can own it and I can sell it, I can transfer it, and value goes up and down maybe. So I think there's a lot of definition of everyday people, but I think not necessarily they need to understand the technology, but just get benefit from that technology, you know, evolution of our blockchain technology, I guess.
Exactly, and I think we talk about Sebastian said about the language, right? And you said about, you know, how blockchain can be used to reduce dispute, for example, right? And when we say about language, one of the term that I think is very often used and many people misunderstood is the word smart contract. And people say that, oh, in blockchain there's smart contract, and smart contract is becoming something like a mythical technology that, you know, with smart contract you can do everything, and smart contract is the solution to everything. But, you know, maybe like for us, the uneducated, I guess, can you introduce what is smart contract, what they are and what they are not, maybe, right? So people can now understand, and, you know, they don't use the language wrong, I guess.
I don't know who named smart contract. Maybe Nick Szabo, I don't remember. But is it smart? The first question I to ask is it really smart? I don't really know. Disclaimer: I'm not developers, but, you know, my definition or understanding or general understanding of smart contract is that it's a computer code deployed on blockchain network. So computer code, you know, registered on blockchain network, and that code has sets of promise or agreement triggered by external information inputted or referred to that smart contract, or some multiple party can engage. So say, for instance, decentralized finance, you can engage with smart contract, you input something and you get return of something, or you can smart contract can refer to external oracle. So depending on the real world price movement, that smart contract triggers some sort of output. So if you think the term of smart, I understand smart is, you know, act based on many aspects kind of flexibly, but smart contract only waits for information to be executed. So it's innovative, I think, but is it really smart? I don't know. But I think that's how smart contract works, I think.
Yeah, and then when you say to reduce dispute, but and we heard this term too, right? The code is law, right? So we in smart contracts, you're right. It's everything is inside the code, right? So it's a computer code actually, right? So that's the main difference between smart contract and, you know, the traditional contract. Traditional contract is more like a legal, and in legal you can argue like how any sentence actually means, right? So, but in computer codes, it's all logic. So it's clear, and you can even say that, you know, that's a better contract because it's very clear. There's no chance of misunderstanding because it's all logic, right? So, and I think that's where the part where you can actually reduce dispute, and that's why this can become really powerful in many of the use cases that you mentioned about, you know, in gaming, in real estate, in business, even. In NOBI, we are more like an asset management, and we help people get into crypto the easy way, right? So people, everyday people, when they want to invest in crypto, they need an easier way to not only own but actually invest in it in the long term. Like one of the very first coin that we support is Cardano, right? And Cardano have this feature called staking. they can earn some neat yield from their Cardano tokens, ADA, right? But let's deep dive on that, right? So when they say that Cardano can be staked, is this thing called staking, right? Is this special to Cardano, or is there a special thing that Cardano staking is different to any other coin? Can you give us some like lowdown on like how it compares?
Sure. First of all, I think what you guys doing great, like Nobi providing easy access to cryptocurrency for everyday people. Like I spent about 2 years in Indonesia. My sort of assumption was people will be able to custody their fund by themselves, but I think it was obviously not the case. I think Indonesia, but like I think still like people want some other people to manage complicated stuff. So I think what you guys doing great, like really taking the entry barrier for wider adoption of cryptocurrency in Indonesia. So I think it's just simply amazing. And also thank you for supporting ADA. Really appreciate it. Speaking of staking, I think the time of staking is that you have your own cryptocurrency, and specifically for blockchain network that supports a proof of stake network. So you own your cryptocurrency and you can provide that or delegate. So you send, no, you're not technically sending, you're delegating your ADA or any other cryptocurrency for someone who is going to be maintaining and sustaining the network. So kind of going back to blockchain technology, it's not a centralized database. There's not only one party constantly updating the database, but it's multiple people, typically permissionless fashion. So anyone can join the network, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. So everyone has a sets of information about the status of blockchain or network. So there has to have a consensus. Say Sebastian, myself, Rolex, yourself. If you have the same database, probably that information is correct. But we need to come up with some sort of consensus and an agreement that is a single list of ledger state. So that's what staking allows people to do. So I can delegate my ADA to say Sebastian, so that Sebastian can participate validating the build, checking the node, acting as a node and validating blocks, right? So I think that what staking is. So I think oftentimes people say, oh, that's interest. But I think it's not really interest, because interest is like you are depositing your money and you are just expecting interest to come back to you. However, in a precise time, we all participating in validating network by delegating my stake to Seva, and in due course, Seva is producing block or validating blocks. So in a broader scale, I think it's just network participation, and your effort is paid back in the form of ADA or any other cryptocurrency in a POS network. So and I think Cardano is adopting something a DPoS, a delegated proof of stake, and it's very beautiful because you can delegate your ADA. So your ADA is not really leaving your wallet. You are just delegating your stake to someone else, and that person can participate in the network by acting as a node on behalf of me. So it's very secure because I'm not really sending my ADA and someone is in custody of my ADA. So I think in that sense it's very beautiful, and it's very liquid. And because of that staking mechanism, Cardano, I think, roughly have more than 60% of ADA stake in the network. So it's very, very secure and very, very, high participation of network, like ADA is staked. That means like a robust network is being built. So I think that's what's really unique about Cardano.
I think exactly, and if I may add to it, specifically from an end user point of view that maybe hasn't been in crypto before and utilizing Nobi's platform to be able to do staking. what that user really does is two things. One is they are helping the network to become even more decentralized, and they are helping the network to be secure. And for you doing that, you're getting a reward, not an interest on your ADA, but more so a reward from participating in the security and decentralization of the network.
And I think those are beautiful. And when we say about this, what's the possibility that we can do in in Cardano, and when you say that in blockchain you can do self-custody, we can really own and hold our own keys, and we can hold the assets in our own wallet, and then we can be involved in the part of the validation, by delegating our coins. Those are beautiful, and it actually means that we are not just a user, we are actually part of the community, right? And then that's something that seems to be at the heart of all crypto companies, right? So NOBI, Emurgo, and all other community in crypto. In the end, it's there has to be a community, people who are multiple stakeholders. They hold coins, and they not just there for the profit, but they actually means they actually can do something, when they own the coins. And and this is not just buzzwords, right? And this is actually what it actually means when you say decentralizations. But so let's chat about this. When we say that this is important, the community is important, the education is important, right? NOBI has its own share of, as Shunsuke said, we're trying to push forward in Indonesia, helping people to get into crypto. But it's a slow and transformative process, right? So and I believe Emurgo also face the same thing. Can you say what's your take, and maybe Sebastian, can you tell us on what you do maybe to do this?
Sure, absolutely. And as you said, I mean, education has been and still is an integral part of our or of Emurgo itself. So Emurgo's part of the mission is to really further building community and drive awareness around innovative technologies, and of course Cardano itself. Being that vision, Emurgo set up an academy called Emurgo Academy around 2019, which is really proof of Emurgo's commitment to bridge the gap between academic and the industry skills that exist in the world. So far, through the academy, we really focus on incubation training and evangelizing Cardano technology, but not exclusively. And this has allowed us to collaborate with over 20 academic institutions. We have thousands of students, learners, what we call them, all over the world. So it has been a really amazing process. And there are multiple different educational, I wouldn't call it courses that we tap into. So one, of course, is to evangelize Cardano itself. So that goes into how can we upskill existing developers in multiple different languages specific to Cardano, which is Haskell and Plutus. But not only limited to that, we do fundamental of blockchain. So that means we educate multinational companies, we educate governments, and further than that, I mean, it's an important part to educate software developers, as this is a new technology. So there is an importance to understand this new technology, but more so also as we are progressing in our roadmap, specifically within Cardano, is to educate also people from different faculties. So I'm talking about C-levels, marketeers, product managers, legal, all of these sort of individuals and companies are really important to support the entire industry and ecosystem for the growth of blockchain and Web3. So education itself is something that is necessary. There are many other players or individuals or companies in the Cardano ecosystem that also provide education. So there is a lot of complements, and education is something that will never be, I would say, enough. It's something we continuously have to work on. And one of the initiatives that Emurgo have done specifically underneath Emurgo, and what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, by building up Cardano Spot. Cardano Spot is a platform that we really try to emphasize the information and learning to both general public, but also specifically within the Cardano ecosystem.
Okay, and so this Cardano Spot, is this a website, or this is more like a movement? Like what should people expect when we want to go to Cardano Spot?
Yeah, so why Cardano Spot exists in the first place? I think that is important to know. So we are there to empower and connect Cardano enthusiasts. So that's really why we are here. And how we are doing that is to build the first social network in Cardano, as well as becoming a leading provider of information about Cardano for Cardano enthusiasts that provides a 360 view of what is happening in the Cardano ecosystem.
Okay, so when we say Cardano Spot, is there like a website that we can go to?
Yeah, so you can go to cardanospot.io, or you can download our Android and iOS app from Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Okay, and when you say that this is for Cardano enthusiasts, right? Is there like a minimum bear that you have to do, or maybe you have to own some Cardano?
No, so I mean, we are really there going back to mass adoption. So we really cater. There are two different aspects that we have to manage. So one, of course, is Cardano native people that are really, really ingrained into the ecosystem. At the same time, Cardano Spot is there to drive development and growth into the Cardano ecosystem. So that means people from other chains of Web3 industry that have an interest in what Cardano provides. And secondly, from Web2 companies transitioning into 3. We are there to sort of cater with education and information for all those 3 user segments. Now, within Cardano itself, you can define different user personas, and people might have multiple hats, but you normally have developers, you have traders, you have newbies, you can have enthusiasts. So depending on what kind of background you have and how you see yourself, we then provide different kind of information that could be valuable to you. And for the mass adoption, we do not require you to own any ADA in order for you to sort of register an account. So you can register completely freely from different ways, either through email, through Web2 social connect. So that means you can use GitHub or you can use TikTok in order to register. So that is also one way of how we try to introduce Cardano as an ecosystem, as a space, as an industry for the mass population by allowing a simple way to get access to it or register and log in.
I see, and this is you can also get news and latest progress update from Cardano on using Cardano Spot, right?
Yes, exactly. So I would say currently we have 5 main segments or benefits for the consumers that register. So one, which we call Community Hub. This is you can consider it as a Twitter within Cardano. So it's really an experience, a personalized and curated home feed where you can create content, you can connect with creators and also find like-minded community members, discuss different kind of topics which is of your interest. So that could be your It could be DeFi, it could be NFT, it could be real world asset tokenization, it could be anything. So depending on the topics you are interested in, who are the people you are interested in, who are the projects in the Cardano ecosystem that you're interested in, when you follow those, you then get the personalized and curated home feed within the community app. On the second one is what exactly as you mentioned, we call it a news feed. And this is where we are currently the leading provider of news or information around Cardano in the Cardano ecosystem. We produce original articles based on what is happening with Cardano itself as a blockchain, but specifically around education and around projects itself. So that's really where you can stay updated with latest news and insights from Cardano ecosystem. You can then access these educational posts, platform-related articles, project-related articles, and video material to really enhance your knowledge and expertise within Cardano.
I see. And education and community is really important because, especially during this kind of market, right? So this is 2023 and we are still in the midst of, I would say, crypto winter, right? So people are all talking about, how crypto will crypto or blockchain ever make any comeback, right? And some people when they hear about, let's say crypto in general or even maybe Cardano, they will say something like, "Oh, are they still around?" And this kind of community, Cardan Spot, and a site where people can see how people progress. This is nice because then we can direct people and tell them tell them that if you say Cardano is dead or you should say blockchain is dead, you can see here and see how vibrant it is, and how people are still building and the community is still growing, right?
The contents is available in Indonesian language, right, Seba?
Yes.
Just wanted to cover that.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Localization, right? So that's and that way, people who are not comfortable in different language, they can read it easier.
Exactly. So we have actually quite recently launched or have an option for people in 8 different languages beside English ready. So we have Indonesian Bahasa, we have Thai, Japanese, Spanish, simplified and traditional, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Portuguese. So now people and communities around the world have an easier way to digest content, as well as that we are working with the community in those countries as well as in those languages to further grow the awareness of this and contribution of providing localized content.
Okay, well, that's great. And for me, this is probably gonna be my last question, right? For us at NOBI, we keep aiming to be, as a leading crypto assets management. We talk to our clients, people from retails, high net worth to institutions. We talk a lot about how crypto can change the world, and we help them to get into different projects, including Cardano, and help them even stake their coins or help their own crypto in their own custody, right? And that's what we do, and we keep aiming, and that's our focus, at least for the next 1 year, right? How about in Cardano, right? Or maybe Cardano Spot, since this seems to be one of your focus right now. Can you tell me about what you're gonna do? Maybe I would say sneak peek, maybe more like a roadmap.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things that we have experienced, and this is not exclusively Cardano, I think as an industry, a lot of entrepreneurs in the industry are developers. And they focus very much on making sure that their product is good, the technology is there, you are connected to the blockchain and so forth, which is really, really necessary. By doing that, there might be some challenges with having the necessary resources and skills to do other things that are necessary to grow your project. And that could be marketing awareness, it could be business development, it could even be investors, and so forth. So that is the area that Cardan Spot will come in. So how do we help projects in the Cardano ecosystem, and not only the 5 top 10 projects, but the entire long tail of thousands of projects that are currently developing on Cardano, is to really provide them a platform and a possibility to create awareness for their projects. So we are doing multiple things throughout the year, by which one of it is to create original content and information about the projects, but also we are producing 5 to 7 X spaces a week. We are doing live streams with the founders, and this is really a way how we engage with the community, how we connect with the community, and allow maybe local projects, for example in Indonesia, to be known in the US community. So we are really trying to cross-pollinate information around projects across the world and help those kind of projects. And that kind of is part of the empowerment and connection we do within Cardan Spot. And to add to that, recent initiatives we have done and recent launches is that we launched our version 1 website. So that means that we have completely changed the front end UI UX design. We have a completely new technology stack behind it, as well as then launched our Android mobile web and iOS mobile app. The second part is what we just recently discussed, that we have 8 more languages, so that allows for further adoption. And what I can give you a little bit of a roadmap specifically for Q4, that would be to do Wallet Connect. So we previously discussed that you can register with your email address, your Facebook account, your Twitter account, and so forth. We will also then add in all the Cardano wallets that are available and out in the market. Will be a possibility for you to register and sign in. We are also going to open the platform more. So currently you can be a guest and read through the articles. You can be a guest to see what kind of projects there are. Now we're going to completely open up the entire platform to our users. The third thing is something we have planned to launch this quarter, and that is something we call Cardano Wiki. Cardano Wiki is, again, from an educational perspective, bite-sized videos around how you operate within the Cardano ecosystem. So very digestible content. And secondly, goes into a dictionary. And this goes back again to further help mass adoption, but also within the community. If you're new but interested, what are the terminologies that you should know, and what does it really mean? Staking is one example for it. And then lastly, what we're also doing in Q4 is something we call content discoverability improvement. So that also means that we are working closely with different creators from the Cardano community. And we want to have a possibility where you as a user to your home feed has an easier way to find new information. So content discoverability is something that is really key. Moving forward from there, a little bit broader aspect, and that is to really become a community-driven Web3 social media platform. And what does that mean compared to Web2? The biggest difference is ownership and monetization. So today, if you go to Instagram, Twitter, or somewhere else, you don't really own the content. And perhaps until you have millions of followers and fans, you can't really monetize that. That is what we are changing in the industry. So you can own your content and you can monetize that in a fair, in a fair way.
Wow, so many things happening. Well, if today's chat sparked even a tiny flame of interest, don't just let it go. Dive in deeper, keep your eyes and ears glued to both NOBI and Emurgo. There's so much more brewing. As Sebastian told us, if you're interested, you can just go to cardanospot.io. and they have a lot of things going on there, and you won't want to miss out on all the exciting developments in Cardano. Stay engaged, stay curious, and let's go into this journey together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lawrence.
Thank you. Thanks, Lawrence.
Thank you.